Coach Poltrock. I'm the offense coordinator at Reagan High School in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Um, we've struggled with deciding about how to go running our counter game. We've done it two different ways. One with the split flow where our fullback goes and blocks the DN, and one with a full flow where we pull our backside guard and he blocks the D end. And I still struggle with what's the best way to do it. And I think we spent about half the years of the offense running it one way and with other supplemental plays, and half our time running it a different way. So a little background on Reagan High School. We play in the city conference in Milwaukee. It's a conference that has, in some parts, some really poor football. There's some teams that are really skilled and do well, and we try to be in that upper echelon of better teams. But overall, as a conference, it's kind of poor football, and it's part of the reason why is lack of youth football in our city, lack of feeder programs. Our school at Reagan's no different. We sit about 1,300 students, and we're lucky to get 40 student athletes out for football. About 5 years ago, we started our program after we co-opted with 3 other schools, us being the 4th school, and it was a logistical nightmare. We had success there, but it wasn't necessarily a positive place to coach all the time. Our kids from Reagan were great kids. We're a high academic school. We got a waiting list of sometimes I think close to 1,000 kids waiting to get in, is what I'm told. But kids have to test into our school, and it's one of the better schools in the city. We're an IB International Baccalaureate school, so we don't have a youth feeder program, and youth football in the city is pretty limited. So when we get kids in, we're basically teaching a lot of kids from scratch. It's their first time on the field, and that has its good and its bads. But we can teach them the Reagan way and what we want to do with the Power T. Our first year running it 5 years ago, we had some pretty entitled seniors that they weren't buying in. They were transitioning from a double wing, triple option program, and so they were somewhat familiar with what we were doing. We had some pretty similar concepts, but we also had a bunch of guys that wanted to throw the ball around, and they weren't ready to commit to it. So we struggled early, and then once we got the Power T running, we've been pretty tough to stop. So we've had some success in our 5 years. We've had 2 undefeated conference championship seasons. We've made the playoffs for 3 years. We've had a good run of things. We had some good success. And what did we look like? Well, I'm going to kind of like what Coach said, in front of me in the last half hour. We're a full house Power T team. I learned this offense from Scott Erickson up in Hurley, Wisconsin, which is the northern part of Wisconsin, right on the UP. And he learned it through numerous people, and John Shillitoe and Irv Sigler, and I can't watch enough film of Soldatnia and Elk River and Zealand, and I've become kind of a Michigan import because I watch so much film of what's going on in Michigan. But in Wisconsin, we're one of 2 teams that are running the Power T, and we are right now about as basic as you could be. We run trap, wide trap, our power off tackle, the keep pass, counter, which I'm going to dive into here in a second, and then of course the Michigan pass. But when we started off, we were not very good at our base offense. We had not mastered what it was we were doing, and although I learned a lot watching YouTube videos and um, making phone calls and being in those old chat rooms. Uh, it was hard to find the fine details until you really got a chance to sit down and talk to some people. So, of course, I did what I saw on film, and I see a lot of teams running toss and sweep, the belly, boot, screen, pop pass. I mean, we added a lot of plays, and I heard, I think it was last week I was in a Zoom clinic, and too much water in the Kool-Aid, you water down the Kool-Aid, so it doesn't taste very good. Well, I found that's exactly what we were doing. We had too much in, and we were not very good at it. We didn't know the fine-tuning points, the specifics. We didn't know exactly how to coach the details, because in some cases we didn't know what the details were. So we were, a lot of trial and error. There wasn't a single T team that we could go and see. So the first time I saw the Power T run, I was running it. I was coaching it. So, and the down part of having all these plays is what we ran. Some of it worked, but it was not sequential. And I found out in doing football for as long as I have and coaching that a sequential offense, when you have that, that's when you really have a true offense. So standalone plays were just short-term success. They were a Band-Aid. They weren't something to build our foundation on. And eventually what we were, the know of all, but the master of nothing. So what did we do? We decided to search for less. We wanted to be as pure, as simple of an offense as we could. Now, part of that is because of the kids that we had. We had smart kids with no football experience. We have limited practice time. And really what we became was a youth offense. And I guess I put it that we became a pure offense in that, I look at that Olivet playbook that I've had downloaded for years and years. And, you could get lost in that thing and all the things that Irv did. But when you come down to it, you find your 5 base plays of, trap power, keep pass and counter. And we wanted to build off those things. So we went from an Olivet playbook down to a note card that, the playbook isn't much over at Reagan. So we're all in for being simple. Gus over at Cedar Springs talks about the KFC. They do chicken. I always love it when he says that. The chicken. We make chicken. That's what we do. We run the T. We don't do much of anything else. We're 100% T formation. We're no motion. We're no shifts. We got 2 tight ends and 3 backs. And that's what we do. We don't break that anymore. We used to, but in about the past 2-3 seasons, we haven't got out of that T formation. So the first thing we found that was really helpful was to be simple. We need to commit to the key play. We had a real hard time, finding the edge, getting to the edge. And it was really easy to bring our guards out, get a wing, start running sweep. I'm a Wisconsin guy, so running that Packer sweep play and that Vince Lombardi, that looks really good. And then we were able to toss the ball too. It's a pretty simple play. But, I don't like throwing the ball through the air. We don't throw the ball hardly at all. So toss to me was just another way to fumble the ball, but it was an easy play to get to the edge. Once we got rid of sweep and toss and fully concentrated on the key play, that was our way to be a little bit more comfortable with paring down the offense and simplifying it. Likewise, we got rid of belly. We got rid of dive option. We already had power. We had, power's a play that's going to get us 4 yards. We don't need any more 4-yard plays. We concentrated on power, keep, and then the trap play. And we got really good at running those parts of the base, that offense. And it was hard, but we second guessed ourselves a lot. especially when things aren't going so well. You go, well, we could just run this sweep play again. It could get us outside, but we grinded through a couple seasons where we were 500, and we really just focused on those base plays. So anytime we had a standalone play, it had to be easy to teach. You couldn't eat up practice time. So like a pop pass was a great example of that. Our head coach, I know who's on here right now, Greg Roman, he loves the pop pass. And he used to be the old coordinator before he let me go with the offense. And, he's like, hey, just let's give our tight end some love. And, it's really easy to, step down and block your inside gap and let that quarterback throw the ball. So, if it doesn't eat up a lot of time and effort of practice, then it's an easy add. If it's going to eat up a lot of time, then it better have a lot of reward to it, or it better, funnel the defense towards something that you want to get done or prevent. So, standalone plays were just out of the picture. And looking at our base offense, we wanted to be able to attack anywhere in the field, the trap, power, keep. Obviously, the keep pass, you want to stretch the field vertically. That counter play, you want to cut down on backside pursuit. And the play that's probably missing here is our Michigan play, which sends our four back right down the middle of the field and attacks the middle of the field vertically. So, with that simple of an offense, the play that I always struggled with was counter. And part of the reason was we started off running the typical GY counter. We pull our backside guard and we lead up our tight end. And what we found that created was we had to teach our backside guard how to pull down the line and kick a guy out. And we also had to teach our tight end, how to pull, number one, and lead up through the hole, and then find a linebacker, scrape and stay tight off a double team. And, those are things we invested a ton of time in our guards doing on the power play. And now we had to insert one more guy into that mix of teaching our tight ends how to do that. Well, as we pared down the offense and got simple with that, our next way to spend our time in the off season, I guess, was, instead of looking at schemes, we really looked at how our practice was. So part of that went into our decision making. But in Wisconsin, we get 2 hours. Part of that is our school. We practice from 3:30 to about 5:30. And then we got to send our kids out. Some of our kids will have an hour bus ride home. Have to take city buses from one side of the city to the other. So our head coach does a great job of getting them out on time, having our time with them be all the time that's expected of them. And then they can consistently get home, do their homework, be with their family. So, this is just an overview of how we took a look at our practice schedule. And, I'm sure it's similar stuff that you guys do, but we want to reduce the number of plays, be highly organized. Routine is key for our kids. Any drill that doesn't translate on the field, we get rid of it. Have as many game situations, do our small changes, and, we don't huddle in our practice. We just try to save time by getting around the line of scrimmage and going. So,
Coach, you got a question?
Yeah, go shoot it at me, Coach. I'm.
You got a question. Do you find it difficult to simulate 2-minute drill or those other sense of urgency moments?
Yeah, we. So our 2-minute drill, we go and we do doubles. We throw our tight ends out to split ends, and then we take our 2 halfbacks and we cut the distance at 7 yards, right? And then we run hitch, goes, slant arrows. Our favorite play out of 2-minute is obviously trap. We don't go shotgun in 2-minute. We still go under center and run trap. The last couple of years, we've used our 2-minute 0 times. At the end of this last year, coach would be like, hey, you want to do 2-minute? And we're like, nah, let's not do that. I mean, and that, that's probably a flaw on my part, but we're not very good at it. And if we set ourselves in a position to have to use that, um, we're probably losing a game, and it's probably not a close game. I mean, we've had better success running our offense where I'll call in 2 plays at a time, and our kids will we'll call 2 plays in the huddle. We'll run 1 play right back on the ball, run the next play, and I actually set my wristband up so that I can call 2 plays at a time, and we just pair them like that. And we're probably more successful running down the field doing that than trying to run a go route and have my guards pass protect.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So in the same thing, like our practice field, we don't have a goalpost. We practice on a softball field in the outfield. So in the 5 years we've had a program at Reagan, we've never kicked an extra point, and we've never attempted a field goal. So it's like some of my friends are like, well, what do you do when you're down, and you need to kick a field goal? It's like, well, we don't need to kick a field goal. I mean, we've never been in a position where we need to kick a field goal to win a game. And if we did, we'd probably be better, running a different play to try to get in the end zone. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's a downfall of our offense and what we choose to do. But, we're all in, you live and die with it. And that's, hopefully you score enough points to keep you close enough, 1 or 2 touchdowns, and you're not, grasping for, geez, do we need to run a hook and ladder right now? I mean, what's the big play that we can run to get us back in the game? Our kids aren't looking around for that. Our kids think, well, let's just run trap. Maybe trap will be a 30-yard play this time, because they know it can be. So, yeah, I hope that answers that question. If you got any more, please just interrupt me, Coach.
Okay.
We get rolling here, but I always add this in my PowerPoints. This is like, I'm sorry, I never got to this last slide, but you can see how we organize our practice. We put a lot of time and effort into figuring this out. I have 3 offensive coaches. I have a backs coach, which my head coach is. I have a big coach, which my O-line coach is phenomenal. He's a Carthage grad up here in Wisconsin. He played his high school ball in Michigan. Shefferly carries some weight in the coaching realms over there in the state of Michigan, and so we have bigs and backs. I'm the swing guy. I run back and forth to help coach and keep a set eyes. But so after our indie and our shoots station, we group up. We do 2 different groups where we have 3 coaches running each group, and we pull our guards at the beginning camp every day with the different pulls that we need. We're always doing double teams and X blocks, double up to the second level combos, and just single blocks to the second level. And then our sync is our quarterbacks with our centers, and then our running backs. We just run our entire offense basically versus air and carrying all fakes and getting the proximity and the speed. And then the next 15 minutes is we run a trap circuit, and we just have our guards, tackles, quarterbacks, and our fullbacks, and we're just running trap against every look. And then our 2 and 4 backs, our halfbacks, we run J blocks with the tight end, and we just look different looks in our tight end blocking down, and where the guy's coming for us to J block, and where our guys are doing that. Then our tackles are working backside cut, climb, on single blocks, and sometimes we have them double blocking with the tight ends, and just a real power look. So this offensive practice plan has been great for us in the fact that we run the 5 plays that we run, and really only a couple supplemental plays. And in this practice plan gets practice at just about everything we need in the game. So we get to team where we can put that all together and put 12 guys out in the field, or 13 guys, or run the 10-1 or the 9-2, or 7-3-1 or the 6-3 or the, you know, if I saw a 4-4 ever again in my life, I'd be so happy. But we're never going to see that. So, you know, those 9 guys in the box are definitely, that's for real. So this is our, you know, our decision-making kind of model. You know, after we became pretty simplified, it's like, well, you know, is there a problem with what we're doing? Can we solve it with another play, or can we tag a play in our own system and just, you know, modify our blocking technique or our blocking scheme? Are we trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist? You know, have we made an adjustment for that? Do we even need to? Is the new play going to fit in our system? Scheme-wise, language-wise, is it going to be sequential? You know, is it going to look like our other plays, which is the base of our offense? Is everything looks the same for those first 3 steps? Can our kids handle it physically? Can they handle it mentally? Can I coach it? Can I coach my coaches to coach it? Are they invested enough to know what's going on? Can we do that at a high level? And then are we willing to take time from something else to add something new? And basically, you know, I have guys checking me to go, hey, coach, you're bored. You know, quit looking at Soldotny and seeing what they're doing, and, you know, writing 20 ideas down at, you know, 10 at night because you just watched some of their game film, and Oak River's got a playbook that's, you know, out the gate with stuff and adjustments, and that's great. That works for those guys, and they have had a lot of success. But my guys, my players, my situation, to be as simple as possible is exactly what we need to be, and we don't have any illusions of or delusions of thinking that we're something we're not. So that's pretty humbling. So all right, let's get it. Sorry, I'm long-winded there, but the counter plays, I've gone back and forth with it. So when we first started running counter, we were full counter play. We pulled the guard, we pulled the backside tight end. This is what I saw in film. This is what I read in the Irv playbook. This is, you know, just what we went with. You know, we had some supplemental plays like the boot. We ran a fullback screen. We had a counter screen. And those helped us out. Those are kind of big plays where our kids went, hey, we should run that screen here. We need to get some yards. We need to, you know, take advantage of what they're doing. And so we kept those in the offense. And we took the time to practice them. But what we really needed was something that was more sequential with boot, with the fullback screen, and something that had a split flow that took our fullback to that weak side. So after years of running, you know, GY counter, we decided to run FG counter, or fullback guard counter. So we thought that was going to be the answer. And when we started doing that, we realized that, you know, hey, we don't have to teach our guards to run across and try to kick out. We don't have to have a tight end, you know, trying to fill up in the hole and block a linebacker and take a whole different path. And he was not very good at doing it and whiffed. And, you know, we had already had our guards invested in doing those things. So, you know, now we have our guards pulling on counter, and up front, it's just like running power. You know, and I still go back and forth, like, which way's best? What should I do? And it's a question I ask a lot of guys quite often is, you know, hey, how do you run your counter play? So, you know, I probably watch too much film, but I want to get better, and I'm always reevaluating if that's something we need to revisit every year. So here's my rough diagram. I don't have a playbook. I don't have much drawn up, and so, you know, this is our traditional way we start off running, you know, GY. So it's Olivet. You know, we kick, we pull up, everyone gets down on their tracks. We try to have a double team at the point of attack. You know, we try to have that backside tackle, cut and climb, work with the center. So we're not spending 2 guys on the backside there, but we had all kinds of problem running counter this way, or Tight ends
Coach,
weren't very
you got
good.
it. Coach, you got a question. Yeah. Could you talk about your fullback's footwork?
Well, it's interesting when we run this, we just have we do okay. So when we run GY, we used to run like a power lead, where our fullback would be the first guy up through the hole, and so when we ran this play, we had him run that lead path, and we were successful doing that. When we run the counter with the fullback lead, and I don't know if that's the steps you're looking for, Coach, but all our running backs every day do J block drills. So whether you're a fullback or a halfback, you're running J blocks every day, and all our fullbacks know how to J block. So when we run the counter with our fullback lead, and he's just running regular little J block. So we do play side step first, backside foot second, and then we take an inside out path. I mean, the only problem with those J blocks is that you got to hold those blocks a little bit longer when you're coming from a fullback position than you do when you're coming from that halfback position. And if anyone's got questions about specific footwear, I don't mind talking to you about it. After all this, or in more depth a little bit, but we've got some rules, but man, Kyle, you got your rules are in depth, and I love them, but my kids aren't. We're not up for that. We're not that organized yet. I don't know if we ever will be. I mean, if I was ever at a different school, I might be more organized. But we don't have a lot of stuff written down. We don't have a lot of playbooks floating around. And a lot of the stuff we do, our kids, we put them, hey, you need to step with this foot first. And, we're watching them on the go and coaching them on the go. And if they're comfortable doing it and they're not slow as hell, then we're kind of all right with that footwork. But yeah, we've gotten a little bit more specific and a little bit more detailed orientated when we go. And part of it is not always knowing what we're doing, being isolated in the state of Wisconsin. So I'm going to keep moving on slides here because I know I'm probably running late now. I got some film I want to get to. So just another way to run counter, we would add a G tag, and that would tell our play side guard to pull and kick out on the D end. And, that would really help to have a play side guard kick that guy out, especially if he's squeezing down in and keeping his shoulder square and, not rushing upfield. Sometimes that D end's a tough guy to get. So we ran a belly G for a long time. So our kids already knew that technique. The only hard part is when you start pulling both guards, if you got guys coming in A gaps, it's kind of ships passing in the night there. You almost hope the guys are just running upfield and you can get the ball handed off and out of their way, and they chase the wrong guy, and the deception is your friend on those plays. So, when we run this scheme, you could keep the tight end home if needed. But like any play in our playbook, we can tag it. We just stay solid, and that tells us that we're going to limit who we pull. So Y solid would mean our Y would stay home. If we ever run a power with the G solid, that tells our backside guard to stay home. So we have we have the tags as a way to modify our blocking scheme and basically turn our plays into new plays, different plays, or a new version of the play that we're running without confusing our kids. So split flow. This is how we currently run our counter scheme, and for my O-line, everything's the same as power. The only difference in power and counter is if we're running 47 power, our two backs doing the J block. Now we're running 47 counter, and now our three back or our full back is doing the J block. I mean, that's the only difference in the play, and I found that this way of blocking it has been much easier to teach. The kids understand it. My O-line, we don't even tell them we're running a new play until we get in the team and go, hey, you're going to hear counter, but it's the same as power. So 47 power and 47 counter, they're blocked exactly the same up front. And our kids up front need to make no adjustments. So, now instead of having 5 plays, really for those guys, they only have 4. So what it did do, it gets that guard in the backside in that funnel. Your split flow creates some synchronized action with some of the other supplemental plays. So we can do the split flow, and again, add the G tag, which pulls the guard. It gives us another look, another guy at the point of attack. And when we run that G scheme, now my fullback, and he's going to start off with that J path, but he's going to turn it up and hopefully shoulder to shoulder with the guard that's pulling. And they're coming through the funnel, guard looking inside, fullback looking outside, and it turns into a nice little play if you can predict that your A gaps aren't going to be blitzed or someone taking advantage of you, where you can run that scheme. So,
Coach, another question.
Yep.
Have you ever pulled the backside tackle and tight end, or is that too slow?
No, it's funny. I got some. I was watching some Soldatnia, and I saw some plays where they're pulling the backside tackle. We've never tried that. It's just our tackles aren't guys that are really good pullers. For us, our tackles are big earth movers. They're our most unathletic guys for the most part. We take a lot of tackles and move them to center, because really in our scheme, our center just is really responsible for blocking a back on a D lineman. We don't really have our center going upfield and blocking second level. So, back in the day when we ran toss, we'd pull a tackle, and man, oh man, there were times I wouldn't want to be a running back following my tackles, because they just were not athletic enough. But that's just our situation and how we personnel things. So we've never done like a TY or a tray, as teams will call it. In our offense, our guards are pullers, and we just spend a lot of time pulling that guard up in the funnel. So for like a pin and pull scheme, it might make sense, to scheme it up a week and go, well, our guard's got a good angle, so let's pull our tackle. And we're KFC. We're chicken to the point where we're chicken. We're just going to do the things that we're going to do. And the great example here of the play that's up in full flow. All right, I thought one year, hey, we're going to run counter 2 different ways. We're going to bring all 3 of our backs and run them right. And then we're going to have our quarterback either do a half turn or a full turn and follow our tight end. Because I've seen guys run this. I thought, man, here's another way to get our quarterback the ball. We're going to have great deception, 3-back flow, and then at practice, our tight end forgot to pull, and then during the game, our tight end forgot to pull, and I started having some anxiety, and then I scrapped the whole damn thing, and I said, well, this is one more thing we can't do. I mean, if we're going to run counter, let's pick one way to run it and just run it. We don't need 2 different ways to run counter play. And I've been out there trying to find the best way, and I think I have it the way we are now, but this is some supplemental plays that we run. So our backfield action is going to look like counter. This is a screen to our fullback. So we're going to run our fullback on a J path. Our quarterback's going to reverse out. He's going to give a real crappy ball fake to our 2-back. We want everyone on the field to know the quarterback's got the ball. He's going to run out on his keep path for a few steps, and then he's going to turn and reverse. And this play's run best with the right-handed quarterback, because he can just he can just turn his body mechanics throws right to our fullback who just backpedals. I got a screen team with the guard and the tackle. We have our backside tight end run some sort of clearing route. I tell them to figure out, if someone's got a man for man, take them and run them right towards the safety, and hopefully occupy who's ever in that back end, and let them all know that you're running across the field. So it looks like we're running our sprint out play, and we just dump the ball back to our fullback. And this is a great play to stop backside pursuit. It also it's a good play to have on film, so teams have to prepare for it, in the upcoming weeks, because they get a whole steady diet of power and trap, which is 90% of what we run is power and trap. So this is one supplemental play we like that we run. The other one's a little screen to our two back. So our quarterback half reverses out. We give a proximity fake to the fullback who's just running J. Our two back runs through and a crappy fake. And then we try to get our four back to get across the quarterback's face as fast as he can. So then our QB can just turn and dump that ball out to the two back. You can have a screen team with it. You have your guard and tackle on it. You don't have to have your guard and tackle on it. I guess it just all depends. I mean, you might have some people in your quarterback's face right now, but if you run counter enough, they pretty much dismiss that two back. All eyes get focused on that four back, running that little counter step and pausing for a second, and then they see that enough, they just dismiss where that two back is, and he's usually wide open over there in the flat. So again, that's been a good play for us. And by good play, I mean we run it 3 times a year and we get 15 yards on it. I mean, that's a good play for us. So I'm not one that likes to throw the ball, but this is a nice little screen for us to mix things up. And then, of course, traditional boot. I mean, we're not breaking any new ground here, but it's a split flow play. It gives us another play where our fullback goes to that backside edge. So now we run counter, we run boot, we can run a couple little screens off of it, and it fits within the series of what we do, and it keeps our offense sequential. So these aren't plays that we run too often, but they were all plays that we liked that didn't quite fit in when we ran the GY traditional counter play. So, Coach, I think I got some time for some film, and if you want to throw that up there, I know
Sure.
I got about 10 minutes left to stay on time. Some of the film, at least at my end, I've seen it's kind of choppy. So, I'll do the best to walk you through it. Just show you a little variety of what we're doing. And again, we're pretty vanilla, and counter is not a big play for us. This last year, we ran very few counters. 2 years ago with the kid we had, he ran counter really well. And, I've heard it put in terms of, counter's not a reverse, counter's a delayed power. It takes a little bit longer to get that power look, but essentially, you're just trying to fool a couple linebackers, get a couple kids to take a step the wrong way, and then you're running power. And once I started thinking of it in terms like that, as a delayed power, I felt a lot better than my biggest complaint is that, man, that counter, it takes so long. I mean, the teams we play they're really athletic student athletes there. Their makeup speed, their recovery speed is so good. And our kids at Reagan are, they're high academic kids that are not coming to our school to play athletics. They're coming to school for academic reasons, and we're trying to form them into football players. And this scheme is probably the best scheme that we got for that. So, Coach, I got a blank screen. I don't know
Yeah,
You working on that film or what?
it's been playing.
Oh, it has been?
Yeah, hold on. Let me
I can't see any of it.
hold on. Let me try it again. All right, now can you see it?
Ah, now we can see it, Coach.
All right, well, that's good. Good thing you let me know. All right.
No, that's real good. Play 2. All right. All right. Yeah, run that one back again, Coach. That's our this. You can see it. It's our screen. It's a split flow. We get a real crappy look by our quarterback. Um, he's just running out there and getting depth. You're going to see our team in the past is not. Our competition we play is not very good. We try to be as disciplined as we can, and as low as we can, because we play teams that just play high. They're really, a lot of them are uncoached. A lot of them are, you're unsure who's going to make it to practice, and um, we try to play up and not play down to the level. And so a lot of times it's poor football by who we're playing, and sometimes we play down to that. But it's our GY counter. We're pulling guard, we're pulling tight end, and now we're going to run this little screen here. So this is our fullback screen, our throwback. You can see 22. That kid's a player of the year. He's an all-state kid. He's played our fullback position. He's played our halfback position. And he's just got a real knack for finding the ball. But, for us, he was a big play kid, and getting him out on the screen there, that's one of our most successful plays we've ever run with that fullback screen. More GY counter here. We're not very tight in the backfield. That's one of the things we're always working the problem we're always working to solve in our sync drills is get as tight of a backfield as we can. We never want our quarterback to show the ball. We always want his back to the line of scrimmage. We never want to reach to give a handoff. And you got people whizzing by on the counter play. It's really easy to reach for the handoff. Our tight ends, when they pull around the horn, they drift. They don't stay tight. They miss guys. Our guards usually do a pretty good job of kicking out when we run the GY scheme. But it's those tight ends that were always just slow and they just looked out of place. We've had moderate success with the counter play. And this year here, we're just running it.
You want me to go to the next playlist?
Yeah, why don't you go to the next one? Yeah, that'd be great. You're going to see a better team here. This is a team that we've never beat them. They're consistently in the playoffs. A team by the name of Riverside, and they've got our number. They're bigger. They got D1 athletes. I got one kid going to play D3. So, these guys got kids going to Wisconsin on full rides. So, oh boy, Coach, run that one back. This is going to be our counter screen. We're going to let our two back clear, and you can see does a poor job of chipping that in, but we're going to throw to him right there, and we get a guy in our face. It's a dead play, but we may run this play 4 times in the season, and the fact that we don't throw an interception on it is probably a good thing. That's deemed a successful play. But these guys were in our face all night. I think that last play we ran here, Coach, this is not unlike what a lot of teams do. We're just running trap, but we're putting a counter action in off of it. We tend to do that, just kind of confuse the linebackers, and that's a great way to run your trap play, is put a counter fake on the edge of it and just tag it. This is our boot play. Fake the 22. we're out on a route. We got our 4-back in the flat and the tight end running over the top. I think we kept our play side tight end that play, but at my end, this film's all choppy, Coach. I mean, we're doing the best we can here to see it, but why don't you go to the next play? Or the next play sheet, yeah. So by now we got our fullback kick in. We're running our fullback guard counter plays. So this is what we've been doing for probably the last 3 years. It's really hit or miss whether it's a good play for us or not. And I like it much better now that it looks like power, and it's power up front for my kids. And I think we got the right guys pulling that need to be pulling. It looks better in our backfield. But I struggle every year. I go, I think we should change counter. I think we should have a quarterback counter. I think we should have a full flow counter. I think we got the tight ends this year to run it. Here we go, Coach. This is the 25. He's another all-state kid for us. 1,000-yard rusher. He's played fullback and halfback. This is a little screen that we run to him off our split fake. I think we've run this play probably 3 times in the last 5 years, and this is one of the better ones we've run it. Our quarterback actually got the ball. If we caught it, we didn't get sacked. But it's there. It's a play that, the kids, he just gets lost. He gets forgotten about. And I think it's a real easy add, to your offense, just being creative and a different way to run, screens is. It's incomplete. That was an incomplete fullback. Here's our Michigan pass. Anyone that runs T understands what Michigan pass is. Put your 4-back right down the middle of the field. You got your tight ends are running flags, and for us, it's a split flow play. You can either have your fullback go fill into the backside guard and have your guard pull out and kick the end, or you can have your fullback go right to the edge player, keep your guard in, but it's a split back play. So, it kind of fits into that family. It's synchronized. It looks like, who we are and what we do. So.
All right, Coach.
Yep. I see I'm running out of time, and, if anyone wants to get a hold of me, I'm on Twitter, and I'll take a phone call or two. And, if you find yourself in a similar situation like we are with young kids that aren't getting it, and you want to be simple, I can help. I got a lot of respect. I know there's some guys from Michigan out there, and, those guys they got the counter to the counter, and they're the last man with the dry erase marker is going to win the battle. And, I in some ways I feel lucky we're isolated over here in Wisconsin, where no one knows what we're doing and nobody understands what it is. And, we take that law of blocking everything under the sun because we have to. We never know what it is we're going to see, or week to week, we have no idea what kind of defense we're going to get. So the goods and the bads with it. But I thank you, Kyle, for letting me come on here and say my piece. So